Hello, I'm Full Paragon, and this is your guide to the Blood Fang Arena Boss. This is a new light element boss that inflicts the bind status on your team. It does target the front unit, so it's advised that you bring a tank or an adventurer that you're okay with being bound and soaking damage from the boss. Because of the fact that the bind is so frequent, you're going to need a solution. You can't just use a Suicide Megamine to absorb the bind, as the boss will continue to do it throughout the battle. This boss also deals mostly physical damage, and the waves are 4 little minions, so you'll need to bring enough AoE to quickly clear them out. Looking at the Dark Element, the obvious tanks to bring are either PJ Mia or Axel Hart's Leah. The issue here is mostly that physical is just not the way to go in the Dark Element, so I don't recommend you go with either of them. They could get the job done, but frankly, there's a better strategy. My suggestion here is, instead of trying to use a tank, that you use Festival Kazuma as a sacrificial unit. Have him apply weakness, and if you can, get a snipe off, and then allow him to die to the boss so that instead of being bound, you have a fresh character swapping in. You can also use Welfare Ring here, as her debuffs, specifically that attack down on the boss, will allow you to keep a squishier mage alive. I also recommend you use Arabian Amy. Swimsuit Amy is also fine, but the amount of healing they put out is going to be necessary to keep your squishy team alive. My suggestion here is to use Megamine to clear out the waves. As usual, Maid Megamine is the best option for this. It's not going to be too much longer that she reigns as a meta queen. We're going to see a general nerf to Megamine in general to deal with how omnipresent she has been, but for now she continues to be the best. Mages with a Kazuma applying weakness are still an incredible option. Union can easily be replaced in that rear slot. You could use Aru instead to deal a massive amount of dark damage, although she doesn't have that cooldown cut coming in at the last second. Overall, the biggest problem this team is going to have is that consistent bind. That's why I put a bind necklace on Kazuma, hopefully allowing him to avoid that. You can try putting a bind necklace on someone else, although that does mean they'll take slightly increased damage from the boss. Hopefully, between Kazuma slowing the boss down and the massive amount of healing that Amy can put out, you'll be able to keep this squishy team alive. It does have much higher damage potential than the physical team, even if it doesn't have the survivability. If you're really struggling to survive, I suggest you try and use a physical team. PJ Mia is still a great option to soak the damage. You notice that she has a bind necklace, and I also had a bind necklace on Kazuma. This is because it will reduce the chance that your character gets bound and will get off a few more actions. The physical team should do well surviving, but it's going to be struggling to do a lot of damage. Still though, you can get School Erica to deal enough AoE damage to quickly take out the minions, and then use her Gauge Charge ultimate to keep Mia and Leah fueled so that you constantly have a tier 3 attack buff, tier 3 defense buff, tier 2 damage cut, and tier 2 agility buff on your entire team. You also have original Melissa and Iris in the backline, but I don't think they'll usually come out with this team. That's the video, thanks for watching, and happy birthday to Megamine, who will be shortly getting her festival unit. I'll be doing a stream to do some polls for her, along with Vanier, and maybe even getting Wiz as well next week, and of course, showing you how to deal with this tricky boss.